everything. Don't record everything. Anyway. Good afternoon, people. Welcome to Smudcast number 818, Exposing the Grift, Go Woke, Go Broke. I'm not sure what kind of video this is with a title like that, but we're going to find out very soon. This is from the Birdman, and his E is a 3, and he's got almost 250,000 subs. Good for you, sir. This video came out 6 days ago, almost 70,000 views, and the description is, the claim that something being woke means it'll functionally suffer is false. Here's why. Of course, not everything that has elements of modern day or current year politics is going to be financially bad or not do well. That's just the marketing and how people receive things and how perceptive they are. It's all different on the product and the market and the demographic. So if that's the argument, great. Let's see some examples. I'm sure we could see the sales figures of video games and people's in seats for movies and all that jazz. So that sounds like a good start to me.
As I still get my hot chocolate, I reject the idea that any of this is these politics are modern, that any of what the left proclaims is new in any way, shape, or form, because they've been preaching the same stuff for over 100 years at least. And if you look into old philosophy and history, it's been much longer. None of this is new. They're conservatives in their own right. That's all.
Yeah, from the comments from the people who like this guy, they seem to not like a lot of the famous YouTubers like The Critical Drinker and other people. So they're saying things like they're racist, they're misogynist, and all the common buzzwords that we expect from these people. So I'm assuming he's appealing to them, even though he's not directly trying to. It's just his opinion on the matter, which is good. I don't want him to be, because all you're doing is appealing to someone, but if he's just doing his own thing, then good for him.
Just projection. They're just redefining words so that they can do the evil things they accuse others of without doing the things, because they said, "Oh no, I say racist is only when you do it. When I'm doing it, I'm not racist."
Well, it's
so pathetic.
It's a weird one because this video is 22 minutes and 22 seconds long, and the thumbnail was of Assassin's Creed Shadows with Yesuke on the cover there. So I don't know if he's going into games. I don't know if he's going to movies. I'm not sure.
Isn't Ubisoft postponed the game further into next year after all the drama?
Yes. Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
They just announced it like a day or two ago, I think.
Interesting. I did not know that. I've not been aware of...
Some people have been memeing that because of Ghost of Tsushima, that's why they're taking a break. But.
Okay. Well, they got to reassess their audience if they're getting all this feedback so quickly.
And it's difficult to tell with any of the companies because some are doubling down further and we don't know why. Like Nintendo, or at least the Pokemon company, now hiring a DEI specialist. Now of all times, after companies are finally starting to wake up, they officially get one. And from the way the announcement read, that person isn't even a Pokemon fan because he's asking for a Pokemon Crash Course. So the biggest franchise on the bloody planet, and they went out of their way to find a non-fan.
Brilliant.
Why? How do you get to find somebody who doesn't know what a Pikachu is at this point?
That's
quarter century later, the bloody thing is more known than Mickey Mouse at this point.
All right, we got a super chat, and we'll get straight into the video. This is from the Dark Surf. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Birdbrain here. Calling anyone a grifter is ironic given how he got his start. I don't know what that implies. Was he appealing to the left-leaning demographic? I don't know. That might be it. Who knows? Couldn't tell you. Anyway, 22 minutes long. We'll see how well this goes. If he's got a nice voice, we'll just sit back and relax, have a drink.
Fall asleep.
Yeah, it's very relaxing.
I just woke up.
Well, if it's like Renegade Cut, we'll just all pass out. Never mind, fall asleep. We're like,
Oh no. But he doesn't have a nice voice, that is for sure.
Okay. Well,
I do also want to read this comment in the chat as a reminder of who the Birdman is. Birdman is one to talk about grifting, considering his rise to popularity was using CinemaSins' own video template to criticize him. To criticize CinemaSins.
Oh, is that the guy?
Yeah, at least one of them.
Was he not Cinema Wins, but he criticizes Cinema Sins, right?
Yo, Cinema Wins just does it for the hell of it.
Right. Okay. I thought I've heard this name before, but it's been so long now.
How do you use the same format to criticize someone using that format? That's very strange.
For
Parody, I don't know.
I don't know.
Caricaturist critique.
Like, it's enough that CinemaSins pauses and does the bell sound and then says his joke. Does that mean he also pauses, does the bell sound or make another sound, and then
he did that Black Panther video, right, where he was like criticizing his criticism about Black Panther.
Sure.
Right?
Okay, that's fine. Just how he does it. I'm like, what is the template for? Like, you can't use the same template to criticize someone in the same manner using that template. That would be antithetical to criticizing the template. You're just copying.
Yeah, and more specifically, the everything wrong with template. What is wrong with you?
I'm just curious how he went from there to this now.
All right. Well, this seems very general. Let's get to the specifics and watch a video. Here we go.
Last year, a fiction film by Gareth Edwards named The Creator blew me away. The themes surrounding AI, a child savior, and a man trying to reunite with his lost lover are not exactly new to the genre, but the film's mix of all these elements combined to formulate a refreshing and original take. In my review, I noted that the film wasn't doing well at the box office, despite...
He's making the first mistake. He's looking at the explosion.
Well, I mean, those numbers are not bad. They're not horrible, but they're not bad. So
pretty good review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like he liked it.
But he's looking at the explosion.
Oh,
it's from the Rogue One guys.
Critics and the audience alike.
Okay.
I wish you guys would support films like this. A lot of you have told me.
See, I don't like this argument already. I wish you guys would like the things I like. It's like, wait.
No.
That's childish.
Why?
Unless the thing is actually good, no.
Yeah, but even then, like, say, I don't know, you have your favorite movie or your favorite game. It's like, guys, everyone should play this game. It's so good. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. If you haven't played the game, I will buy it for you because you're hurting my brain every time I talk about it, and you haven't tried it yet. I don't know what to do to get you to try this thing.
Like Bloodlines?
Like Bloodlines. That was I mean, if you haven't, and I kept harping, I was like, what is wrong? Like, what more do I need to give you the game? I have to walk over to your house and install it in your computer?
I've tried it. It worked with me, although it was lent to me back then.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's like 1 in 10 times that you give that game to people that actually do play it.
Yeah, I know. It's hard.
It's not enough to just shove it into people's faces.
Yeah, it's when I talk
you have
about
to sit them through the beginning, and then that needs to stick. And if they get through the house and they love it, great.
Yeah.
But even some people fall off after that, which is just
I
don't know what to do.
When you talk about certain games with certain formats or genres that people don't naturally or would be interested in, like I can't sell that to anyone. Hey, this is a real time with pause isometric. You're like, what is that? I'm like, well, it's overhead and you could pause the thing and move your characters. Like, that sounds complicated. It's like, yeah, it is. It's like, oh, that's not fun. So you can't sell something to someone that doesn't already appeal to them and you just haven't heard about it. If it's like a side scroller and people like side scrollers, that's no problem. I could sell all kinds of indie games that are fantastic to you. But this is like, it's a movie. It's like, yeah, but you know how many science fiction movies I haven't seen that I just have not bothered to because I either know the book or I don't want to watch a blockbuster. That's a science fiction.
They weren't advertised as enough.
Oh,
some things I really only ever knew because I was in the cinema anyway, and it was in a trailer in the cinema because that thing ran nowhere else.
Yeah, like I've never seen Oblivion, and I've never seen Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow, I've read the manga. Oblivion, I just never got into. Both Tom Cruise, both big films, but I just don't care. I've watched Babylon 5. I've read Asimov. I've read all these other great guys. I'm not thinking I'm going to learn a new trope or a new pattern or a new plot.
You didn't read Heinlein.
I'm trying to remember which one I read. I know I read some of it. I read a short story of his, and I can't remember the name.
Well, you wrote about 5 million, so that's not helping.
Anyway, okay, let's keep going. Here is Louis Seems Gay. All right. Last year I saw The Creator, and it blew me away. Why? It was a shitty Blade Runner ripoff. The sentence should be, last year I saw The Creator, and it blew 4,000 dicks in rapid succession. Maybe it's a good film to him, and he has to explain himself. I don't know. He just said he liked it. That's all we know.
The question with these things is always, how many other things have you seen? Because there are things that are mediocre, today made, but actually mediocre. They just look amazing. But it's the first thing you've ever seen of that kind, of that story, and that's why it makes a bigger impact with you.
Yeah, like what was that crazy? Was it Red Moon or whatever? That silly with lightsabers on the moon and all this crazy.
The Rebel Moon.
Is it Rebel Moon? Yeah, it's like, oh, that looks amazing.
The thing that's complete. The Zack Snyder garbage.
The Zack Snyder garbage. Then you actually get the reviews. You're like, whoa, this is not what you think it's gonna be. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it looks good or sounds good or the trailer appeals to you. It's what's the substance
More
there.
slow motion harvesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
On Twitter and otherwise, that you have problems with like superhero movies taking over. This is one of those movies that's not that. It's an original IP. It's an original film. Why is this movie not doing numbers at the box office? But you complain and say,
I don't give a crap about IP. I give a crap about authenticity, maybe originality, mostly about it being told well.
Yeah.
For example, Demon Slayer in the anime range is not that original, but it does everything absolutely right. And that's what makes it appealing.
Yeah.
It runs through every trope, but it does it frame perfect. It doesn't overstay, and by the time you realize the pattern, it subverts it once and then goes to the finale. So it's perfect.
So
it doesn't need to do anything.
The numbers of this film are it pulled in 104 million at the box office and took about 80 million to make. And I don't know if that's all the production value or marketing. I don't know. But they're in the green. So bravo.
Advertisement is never in there, so that's questionable.
Maybe, yeah.
Sounds like they broke even.
Yeah, it sounds good. And it looks like a good film. Again, from the trailer, everything looks good. That's the whole point of a trailer, to make it look appealing so you go watch the film. But just because one guy likes it doesn't mean it's a good reason to go see it.
It should be like two people liking it.
Sorry?
It should be two people liking it, right?
Two people. If Siskel and Ebert were like the film aficionado and the other guy was just the layman, like two complete opposites, and they both liked it, then I'd be like, okay, there's something there, right? But because they're both film buffs, it's kind of hard to figure out what they like and dislike and why. So you really have to pay attention to their opinions and their tastes to figure out where they're coming from.
I mean, in this case, I'd say on the poster it said made by the people who made Rogue One, which are the people who made Andor, which are the people who made the Bourne Identity.
Yeah,
that's why I could give it a chance.
Mixed, yeah, exactly. It could be good, but cinematics would be good at least. So you'll have
that. They're not bound by Disney rules.
Which, if I may ask, what was the consensus on Bourne Identity again?
Couldn't tell you.
Which one?
Like the general reception?
Great start, fizzled away in the fourth.
Okay.
That's at least my memory
Yeah.
feeling.
See,
of it.
again, another
Alright.
film series I've never watched. I just don't care.
Bourne's good. Bourne's
Shaky
good.
cams and body cams, like, yeah, I'm
At
okay.
least watch the fourth. The action has these stupid quick cuts.
I just remember Hawkeye wasn't one of them. God knows.
The actor, right? Jeremy Renner?
Yeah. I don't
Okay,
know
yeah,
why.
Yeah. Well, he's part of that series.
Wow.
All these remakes and reboots, superhero movies, but then the original movies get made and nobody goes to see them.
The film's protagonist and his love interest, a black man and an Asian woman, respectively, are relatively unique in big Hollywood productions, something I took note of in my own review of the film,
Not really.
mainly because I've been writing my own story featuring those same demographics.
Not really, because that's the DEI bullshit of race mixing, which we saw in TLJ with Finn and Rose, that was so forced that even the actors seemed repulsed by it in the movie. But yeah, keep going.
Those same demographics. If you ask any of the media grift or their parrots why that movie failed, you'll likely come away with stuff like this.
Before you know it, Taylor and his team are deep behind enemy lines and manage.
Okay, so Critical Drinker's a grifter?
Did he just mention the parents of the grifters, quote unquote? What do they have to do with this?
Not the
Well, can we
parents.
can we define what grifter means?
He hasn't done so. Yeah, we don't know.
Oh shit! Here we go. Then.
So we'll stay with the original meaning, the objective meaning, which is somebody who holds an opinion that he, or peddles an opinion that he doesn't actually hold for personal gain. And with the problem with Drinker is that he has at least shown ignorance about his position on the message, because he was completely and utterly blind to it in God of War Ragnarok, as was Mauler, as both were in the Last of Us show, and Drinker at least was in Fallout as well. He peddled, although he hadn't seen it, he just went by hearsay that the Shogun remake was totally good and totally not woke, while it is the epitome of woke. Like it's the complete destruction of the entire story and the characters. Everything's twisted, everything's upside down. All male characters are destroyed. Everything's handed to the females. The females are completely unempathetic psychopaths. It is. I was told it's not woke. Go watch it. Like, fuck you, Drinker. Fuck you. Why do you do this? Why are you inconsistent?
All right.
Weapon, which turns out to be an android in the shape of a small girl. A girl who's the key to everything, if you will. Oh, come on! Yes, it's one of those movies.
Alright, to be fair, Drinker's review of the creator is pretty fair. He gets some things wrong, like equating the themes of this film to being a copy of Edwards' previous film, Rogue One. Star Wars, as stated by Lucas himself, is an homage to the Vietnam War.
You did something very interesting with Star Wars, if you think about it. The good guy...
Yeah, but that's an homage. Doesn't mean that's the theme or the focus. It's like saying, oh, I'm making a car in the shape of a Ferrari. It's like, yeah, but you're not making a Ferrari. It's a car. There's many moving parts. You can't just say, I'm making it like a Ferrari. It's like, well, just buy a Ferrari. Who cares?
What's up with his neck?
Oh, never mind. He's a big boy.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm just, wow.
Uh,
Hope he doesn't have cancer or something.
Don't worry. There are plenty of obese people in the world. They all look different.
They're using asymmetric warfare. Empire? I think we call those guys terrorists today. We call them Mujahideen, we call them Al-Qaeda.
When I did it, they were Viet Cong.
Exactly. So were you thinking of that at the time?
All of those are bad groups, though.
Yeah.
Communists and Islamists. fascists in their own right, the horrible misogynists the left allegedly hate so much.
This is, I mean, Cameron and I don't think Cameron's that original a writer, and I don't think Lucas is that great a writer. So I don't know what the hell is going on. He's got. Did you think about?
You can't say that.
Cameron freaking plagiarized other writers and made Terminator. It's like, I don't care what this guy has to say about writing. What are you thinking about? No, you stole ideas, dude. Every writer takes ideas. It's not like Lucas was a genius. He was a genius in his work ethic and getting the right talent around him. And, we have a rebel team. I was thinking of the Mujahideen. No. You were doing millions of things all at once. That's complicated, sure. But his talent is not in writing, as his scripts have shown.
Yeah, but Jar Jar is key to all this.
Oh, God.
You know, we're fighting the largest empire in the world.
Right.
And we're just a bunch of hayseeds in coonskin hats who don't know nothing.
That's right.
And it was the same thing with the Vietnamese.
Yep.
The irony of that one is in both of those, the little guys won.
Right.
And the big, highly technical empire,
the English Empire, right?
the English Empire, the American Empire, lost.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say lost, they just gave up. And there's other reasons to that than necessarily stated.
Yeah.
And it was a mistake to pull out each time. They could have finished the job, they didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They were World War II, by the way.
I'm sure these are all influences to some degree, but I don't think this has anything to do with Drinker's response to saying, well, it was inspired by this. It's like, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, what is the point?
The little guy isn't always right. The little guy isn't always... The underdog isn't always the good guy. Look what the underdog in
Strangely,
before
Drinker
World War
mentions
I
the
brought
Vietnam
us.
War and how this
Brought us
film
World
fits
War
that
I.
mold, but he somehow doesn't realize that Rogue One also fits the Vietnam War comparison, and that's likely why the creator feels familiar, but I digress. Drinker's review of this movie is totally fine, and I agree with a lot.
So, you're okay with it? All right.
So you're the grifter too?
he misses the point, but I agree with him.
Yeah, this is a weird... He's wrong on all these points, but he's okay. Like, all right.
He's a grifter, but I agree with everything he says.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh,
Of
sorry.
what's said.
We got another donation from... It's hard to read. Hail freaking hit her. All right. I like the Drinker, but there has been times where he has blind spots. Yeah, he's a layman. He comes across as a layman. That's the point. The anal prolapse of us and God of War Fagnarok. I do think it's funny that these soybeans trying to criticize him for the most pathetic reasons. Oh, he said my goy slop sucks. I don't know. This guy seems intelligent. He's able to criticize Drinker, and he's able to agree with him. So I'm like, all right, that's fair.
Yeah, there is the possibility that a Drinker is not a grifter, but that he is actually ignorant, that he only notices the message about things he cares about.
Yep, that's
and
fine.
is blind to it in others, which I find completely personally to me. I find that impossible because it is such blatant pattern that, especially in the examples given, that I don't understand how he could not see it.
Well, that's just his level of rubric he uses to analyze film or whatever, and that's fine. You could be a subpar critic. We're not, we don't care so much. We don't want the super analytical detail from the Drinker because he's not that kind of guy, right?
Well, I do when this is his main stick.
He's trying to make fun of stuff in a lighthearted, layman kind of way, and I think that's where people enjoy
but
it.
his stick, the message, is one of his go-to things.
One of them.
And when he calls it out, it is I'd say 99% correct. But then there's these big things where there is the message, and he says it's not there, and that's why it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
That is
how drunk are you?
That is like you go to a restaurant, you get 80% of what you asked for. Like with God of War Ragnarok, you get the big strong guy with his son fighting evil or whatever. You get that, and then there's like this 20% which is like crap. or whatever.
It's more like the other way around, and it's I'd say 10 to 90.
Yeah, but not to him. He
5.
sees only the good stuff, and he loves it so much that the rest is kind of.
And why?
It's because it's easier to ignore all that shit when it's an interactive medium.
In a video game, yeah, for sure.
But did you notice the problem he had with a girl being the key to everything? This is the problem, and how he and others like him teach people to view media. They will couch anti-woke talking points.
No. It's not anti-woke. It's literally the savior trope that we've seen. Like, I thought of Children of Men, the next generations, the future. It's the thing that's going to keep us alive. Like in that Star Trek episode when the bow breaks, first season, where they go to the planet and none of the people there can have kids, but they steal other kids, and they're super powerful, so they throw the Enterprise thousands of light years away or whatever, and they got to figure out how to deal with that. So there's plenty of examples of this children of the future, children of the savior, and they have this holy necessity in this story. In this case, it's a cyborg, an android. So. Nothing new, but again, that's okay. Science fiction doesn't really do too much new. It's just how it's done and how it's accepted. Now, if his criticism is bad and he doesn't point that out with examples, then yeah, he is just harping on woke is crap, therefore bad. You need to explain why that example is bad, as opposed to just saying, well, the trope is woke. It's like, and what about it? How does it work? Why doesn't it work this time? Is it uncreative? Is it unoriginal? Are they pushing an envelope? Are they doing something new? Is this iteration less intelligent than one we had 50 years ago or whatever? Like that's what you have to do when you see a pattern and go, oh, this reminds me of that.
And we know the woke is a Trojan horse because it gets in through underhanded measures like the DEI or ESG backdoor. It's pushed in from somewhere else. It's forced in, and that affects the thing. The thing is, a popular IP like God of War, for example, or Star Wars in the beginning, people will buy and they will make a profit because people don't expect the crap to be in it.
That's fine.
Subsequent parts will make less.
I'm just curious about this example of the trope, how it's woke, because there's nothing woke about kids being the future or the savior. We can go to fantasy stories, children's books. It's nothing new. So what about that cyborg or android kid is woke? Yeah. I'm curious.
In general, I think the equivalent is a poisoned well. You don't know that the well is poisoned, so everybody still goes to the well. But they won't go to the well again when they realize the well was poisoned. But the woke will say, oh, look how many people still went to the allegedly poisoned well. Why would they have gone to the well if it was poisoned? So they drank that much water. So it was a super success. It's totally not poisoned. While the reality is they drank from it because they didn't know. But they didn't drink from it again.
All right.
And more, over time, more and more didn't drink from it.
Here is God 004. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. My only beef with Drinker is he outright avoided bringing up GOW Rag, or God of War Ragnarok, in his Sweet Baby video and instead brought up irrelevant ones in its place. That's weird. That is weird.
Was that video made before we officially knew that Sweet Baby Inc. was involved? There were the name because I think God of War Ragnarok's credits only mention the names of employees of Sweet Baby Inc., but not Sweet Baby Inc. directly.
It mentioned Sweet Baby. I fucking screenshot that.
Yeah, it's possible that you didn't get all the information or it wasn't published as much. So
maybe skip the credits.
Yeah.
Because he left it out because he doesn't want to upset his friend Mauler, who likes the game like an idiot. And made the stupid with his commie friends made the stupidest arguments to defend it.
All right, we are at 311, still going.
Reasonable discourse, which allows the Complaints about demographics are repeated over and over, the illusory truth effect takes over, and this attitude proliferates and spreads like a virus.
How?
Look at what people who definitely consume this type of media analysis thought of the creator. You might think I've been unfair to the critical drinker recently. I want you to keep that in mind when you look at these comments made by people who have the benefit of sharing their real opinions because they can hide behind their anonymity. Look at just how uncanny some of these posts are to drinkers' own oft-repeated words. Similar to drinkers' position on the people the Riddler killed in The Batman, this person thinks every white person in the movie is a villain. But that's just not true, as the protagonist's friend is white, and he literally dies trying to help him. One of the film's recurring antagonists is an Indian. But it gets worse. On that same page, you see people express
Looked more Arab, but okay.
People expressing sentiment such as wishing for 100% white casts and no minority groups, and that the film is woke exclusively because the main actor is black. This is the legacy of people.
If the if the main character is black and his friend is white and dies trying to help him, that's just the reverse trope that Hollywood does, where the black guy is the friend who dies trying to help. It's just a reversal. That's just it's a stupid race trope to begin with, and just reversing it isn't doing it any better.
Yeah, this guy's saying the cast was bad. He liked the movie for the CG, and the story was abysmal. So he doesn't care about this white guy or this black guy. He's like, the cast just wasn't working. The acting wasn't very good. So if the acting and the actors aren't very good, you go from there. You can criticize them. Oh, this was a DEI hire. Why else would they have an Indian or it's like, maybe, I don't know. But if the actors are wrong, it comes across. And that could be acting, that could be skin tone, that could be hairstyle, that could be whatever. So it doesn't really matter what the problem is. If it pops in your face, go, this does not feel good, or if this does not feel right, why is that? And you list all these reasons, and part of that is, you have this diverse cast for no reason.
I think it in sci-fi movies as well as heist movies, it can make sense to have people from all these very different backgrounds. But it better make sense that they're there.
It's hard to gauge this when he says that Rogue One was such a masterpiece. I'm not sure it was a masterpiece. I watched a bit of it. I liked watching it. It was attractive. It had very good visuals.
But you didn't watch the entire thing?
I think I got 20 minutes in. I was just tired. It didn't do it for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw about it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just did not do it for me.
It's certainly not a masterpiece. It's been messed with too much for that.
All right. Here's gay actor Michael Douglas. Thank you for the tip. These people are hiding behind anonymity. Translation: Wow, I can't dox and get people. I don't think he's trying to dox them and get people fired because they called me a retard online. Also, the first comment said he liked the movie. What's the problem that he doesn't blindly fillet this slop like you? Yeah, he liked it. It was a 5 out of 10. It wasn't horrible, but he knows the things he doesn't like, and it's the story, the characters, the acting. I'm not sure. Maybe the other comments are more.
Isn't he harping about the DEI criticism, quote unquote?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's changed. They're not going anywhere fast, so yeah, it's mid 5/10. It's nothing worse than Marvel's. There you go. He liked it, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
Is mid a worse rating than bad?
Yeah, it's kind of on the fence. Like, you could argue mathematically it's better, but a lot of people who say it's mid mean it's not worth it. It's like, pass it. You don't have to watch it.
It did not hit.
Nerdrotic and geeks and gamers, because these people are looking to be offended and looking for the idea that all the white.
Really.
Oh no. That's projection. It is the SJWs, the leftists, the socialists, communists, who look to be offended and through their offense demand, for emotional extortion, demand that their politics are pushed everywhere. And normal, sane people are eventually so pissed off by the crap that produces that they complain about it. They're not looking for this stuff. We don't need to look for the stuff because at this point it is everywhere. It is already in Pokemon. And it is going to get worse, and Pokemon is going to die. It's already on the downslope because of this stupid lawsuit they bring against Palworld after they've squandered their license, their IP, since Platinum came out, which was, in my opinion, the peak of Pokemon games, of the Pokemon franchise. And everything after that was garbage.
What about Gen 5?
What was that, Black and White?
Yes.
It was okay, but it was not Platinum. Platinum was the absolute peak, I'd say.
Well,
so it's these that look. The thing about the peak is, if you keep that, if you had kept that that level of quality, you would have oscillated around that. Not everything would be as amazing as that, but you would be 0 point something points around that. You could go up and down around that.
Well,
but Black and White was like a little bit below, but after that it goes downhill.
Yeah, Black and White, at least the Gen 5 at least maintained the general standard of what Platinum established for the series.
Think of it as a bell curve.
Yeah,
Platinum is the peak. There are other things around the peak, and afterwards, well, that's the valley.
Like the most I've heard about a complaint about that one specifically is the fact that for the regional decks, they did all of the Pokemon exclusive to that region, and then after that, open it up.
All right, back.
I was fine with that.
Back on topic. Yeah. He's referring to other YouTubers that say the same things, but I recall, I think it was yesterday, the release of the trailer of Ballerina or whatever it was called. It's a John Wick spin-off.
Oh yeah, that came out yesterday.
I can't remember who it was, Jeremy or one of those guys on Twitter. He's like, they weren't sure. What do you guys think? And he was just asking that general question. And everything about that trailer, like all the John Wick trailers are amazing. And they showed this woman who's doing all this John Wick stuff, and you're like, that's not bad. And they explained that she's not as strong as men, but she has to fight and dirty and do all these maneuvers. I'm like, yeah, this is how it should be. So I thought it was pretty good. Now, I don't know if the film's any good because what we saw from John Wick 4, was it? The latest one? I never watched it, but all the reviews said it was very good compared to the other ones. Actually, in fact, it was pretty bad. So
I found it okay. It's more of the same.
Yeah.
And I found it a little less stupid than 3.
Yeah.
3 was just too much of the magic assassin society, which it's arbitrary rules that just get added on new things every scene, like a child inventing a game. That's what John Wick 3 felt like the most, and 4, I found seemed a bit more toned down in that regard. Everything else is the same stupid fun action.
Yeah,
the stupid fun action, and it's all about the stupid fun action with John.
Yeah, and it was the last scene was a flamethrower, and then she pulls out a fire hose, and they're fighting, they're spraying each other like the lasers in cartoons. We have like two people shooting lasers at each other. There's like this big explosion in the middle. It's like, it's the freaking trope from cartoons. Like, that's hilarious. So yeah. I thought that was cool, and I don't know what that scene's all about, but just seeing that, that appeals to guys who are like, yeah, what would succeed in a battle between flamethrowers and big water hoses? I don't know. That'd be great. So
yeah,
fun, cool looking trailer. Again, this movie could suck. We have no clue, but the trailer ropes you in.
This is the exact sentiment Will Jordan teaches people to look for in his videos, and that's why his comments on the girl being the key to everything stands out. So when these media grifters express ideas like go woke, go broke, you can bet these ideas will take root and become
It's not an idea, it's an observation of a pattern. We've seen it for over a decade. You can't call that an opinion because it's observed fact.
It's also a very famous saying at this point. So them just saying it is like, yeah, it's a buzzword, but if they have a video on the topic, and they explain
It's like one of these. I don't know what the term is in English. Farmer sayings, farmer wisdoms that ring to be true because it's an observed pattern about, for example, the weather or when to sow seeds and when not to, because it will just ruin your crops. You know the pattern, so you know that. So one of these patterns is when you go woke, you will go broke. Maybe not immediately, but you will make less profit. And eventually, your business will shut down because you will not make profit. That's it. It's a bad product. Because what is woke? Woke is socialist propaganda of the strangest kind. The kind that you don't associate with socialism because you know so little about it. But it is part of it. It is even the deeper core of it. The deeper you go into that, the weirder it gets.
Yeah,
it gets as weird as the world ice theory of the Nazis.
We have to go back to
people don't like that.
We have to go back to, I guess, the 60s or 70s with the concept of social justice, and then how that evolved over time until the.
Well, the entire term social justice is really just a euphemism for socialism.
There's a lot,
because if you put a modifier, if you put a mutator in front of the word justice, it's not justice anymore. It's a corruption of justice immediately.
There's a lot of things happening since the 2009s. I'm trying to remember the exact moment where we were like, okay, this is noticeable, at least in Canada. And then we had progressivism take off, and with the liberals, and that's been that way for almost a decade now. So 2009 in Germany, I'd say the time when you were within politics, active within politics, 2009 would be the time when you'd start to notice it. Outside of politics, it's more like 2011 to 13. Yeah, I think that would, you remember like the Twitter stuff, all the kinds of weird media that started coming out, the games that came out, the shows,
the quirkiness,
a lot of the universities and the weird things they were doing. Yeah, that was happening about at least early 2010s. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And where was I? Right. So the problem with woke is it is propaganda. In this case, it's socialist propaganda. But it doesn't matter what kind of propaganda it is.
Yeah.
Because propaganda is the one product that doesn't sell.
That's a good
never
point.
Sell. It's the worst product. It's the product that's so bad that even if you pay people to take it, they don't want it.
Yeah, like even if this was like evangelicism or any kind of religion, which you could argue this is, it would still feel out of place, and we'd still be fighting against it because it doesn't belong where something else should be or should not be, because we don't want stuff ham-fisted. You could put woke crap into a story where that story belongs. That's fine. Yeah, have an evangelical movie. I don't care. Make it a genre. That's why we want to see, not necessarily social. What's the word I'm looking for? Either make this an official religion, like transgenderism or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, make it an official religion. We say, oh, are you of this faith? Great. Then we know where you're coming from. We don't have to argue.
Yeah, Smart, that's the thing. It's the joke. Because the working title for the Communist Manifesto was A Communist's Confessions of Faith. And that was changed because the decision was made to not sell it as a religion deliberately.
Yeah.
They were thinking about selling it as a religion because it's a scam, either way. And the reason why they decided to say, oh, it's not a religion, it's atheist, it's secular, because that allowed them to say, oh, we're not part of the religious war, so they don't have to contest with the value of any other religion. They just, by definition, say, we're better than all the other religions. You should throw them away. We are the real thing, the good thing, the bestest thing.
Yeah.
And religion is poison so that you don't notice that you're following a religion that just claims to not be one.
Yeah, it's essentially a form of orthodoxy that changes itself every few months to facilitate whatever they think is very important at the time.
Yeah, well, it changes what's on the surface. The deep core that most people don't know about, the occultism in it, that doesn't change. Because the surface is relatively fake. That's the stuff that changes. It's what changes strategy, what changes policy.
I don't want to get into this too much because it's a long video, but it's nice to point it out because
it's way more complicated. That's why people get so confused with it, because it is supposed to confuse people.
Yeah, if
so that they stay in and make excuses for it for generations.
They will defend this and that this year, and then they'll disagree next year. Yeah, I've seen people like that. So in this case, he's not defining his terms, and we're just like, well, yeah, Drinker doesn't like this, and these guys don't like the same thing. It's like, yeah, but they have videos to facilitate why.
But I agree with him.
But I agree with this video on the movie I like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's examine the veracity.
Uh-oh.
Finally, after fucking 5 minutes.
With the game that isn't out, that a whole nation despises.
Can you imagine?
United China, Japan, and...
Yeah, but just think about it. Can you imagine
the game? Go on.
The French, like maybe made a video game about the French Revolution, and every French, all the Senate, everyone was like, "This is horrible. This is against everything we believe in. This would never happen."
If it was during the French Revolution, and they'd have, I don't know, a monarchist American maybe, which is as hilarious in itself, who goes through Paris murdering all the French revolutionaries.
Oh my God.
That's what this is.
Oh boy.
The Grift.
Oh no, not
This
German.
could potentially be one of the most important get woke, go broke situations we have seen. So we are talking about Colin Kaepernick and Nike. Nike just revealed that he is the face of its Just Do It campaign. If that is not a social justice, political pandering move,
Dude, Nike now makes hijabs with the
really?
the little tick on it, which is funny because Nike or Nike is a Greek goddess. So that would mean that the Islamic women who put on that oppressive headdress were a symbol of another god. That is so haram, you couldn't make it.
Okay. Not marketing, but yeah.
Yeah, well, no, that is marketing. It plays on the ignorance of people, but it is, of course, stupid as hell. And Nike doesn't care. They just want to make money. They sell to everyone. They still think this works. And since what's a demographic that steals Nike shoes constantly? It's usually the people that vote for the woke stuff.
Yeah, I remember in the 90s, I can't remember who made an essay about, or an argument about how Nike backed Bo Jackson, and there was a commercial with Bo Jackson. They were selling shoes or whatever, and Bo Jackson could do this because he was a baseball player as well as a footballer. So he was very dynamic and very, very athletic. And the whole idea was that he's so dynamic, he's this black, powerful man, he's so skilled and blah, 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 blah. You're like, yeah, that's a good message, but it's just an advertisement to sell shoes. And my neighbor actually wrote an essay about that reality as opposed to this whatever the message was in the 90s for that commercial, because Nike does all kinds of commercials. They're all fun, sometimes they're weird. But I remember that because he wrote that essay, and his sociology teacher loved it so much he put it in his desk just to show that, yes, this was a smart analytical approach to the reality of marketing. So, yeah, no, Nike does, not just Nike, but all marketing.
Yeah, but in that case, Nike has the demographic that is interested in their products and votes for social justice, and that's why that kind of works. The this is not to rip on Jeremy. That's just something he hasn't thought of.
Yeah, I remember the Olympics was it the 80s? Was it Montreal Olympics or the 84? And it was the woman with the hammer. It was basically a scene from 1984 where she's running through this projection room. All these guards are chasing after her, and she's got the hammer throw going. So she's swinging this hammer. She launches it into the projector, and it shatters the white wall that the Big Brother is speaking on. And
Wasn't that an Apple ad?
That was an Apple ad, yeah. So Apple's using this motif of a future world where,
and now Apple is Big Brother.
Well, at the time, you see, that appeals to some people because that's when 1984 came out, like a decade ago. So they knew what that message was. And it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative or whatever. They use whatever they can to make their money. And that is a memorable campaign because of that image.
At face value, this is one of the dumbest moves I have ever seen by a company. I can't believe it. I don't know what they're thinking. It's hilarious, and it's also
How is he a clown?
Face palming at the same time.
In
That's
a
his
previous
opinion.
video, I did what grifters and parrots could not do and correctly defined the word woke. In short, it is Black American slang that means to be socially conscious and aware.
Yeah, that is still the same thing. It's just that it's spread further out.
Yeah, that's like 100 years ago.
And yeah, but it is the same thing. It was the same ideological garbage with the same talking points. Like, look here. The second sentence has the word racial injustice, which leads to racial justice. So which would be the correction. And racial justice is race socialism. Why? Because if you ask any German to translate racial justice into German, you best only ask, can you translate that? And the German will nod but not say the word, because Germans choke on that word. When you ask, would you speak that word out loud? Most would think for a second and then shake their heads, because it's all this Nazi stuff or anti-Nazi stuff is so ingrained in us. This German guilt. It's part of the German guilt thing, and to say this word feels like you taint yourself with it. The German word for racial justice. If you ask a German, what book would you expect to find that word in, regardless of whether it's in there or not, and everybody would name the Austrian painter's book. Racial justice is a term Germans would solely associate with the Nazis. And that is the reason why, and this is the anomaly, the left does not use the word racial justice or its translated word in Germany. It uses it everywhere else because the Anglosphere isn't aware of this. Race socialism is what the Nazis did. It's exactly the version. That's the twist that differentiates it from all the other socialisms. The racial component, that race becomes a class. That's what the Nazis did. And that makes the woke equivalent to the Nazis. So when they call everybody fascists and Nazis and racists, that is a projection of the highest order. They are the brown socialists. They just switched the swastika for something else, the hammer and sickle or whatever else their stupid fist, which was the original sign of the fascists anyway, because that is the sign of Mussolini's fascism.
All right, 6 minutes in. He's using the original.
Wikipedia.
I don't know. This is kind of disingenuous. You're going to use the original definition and not update it to what it means now, which this paragraph in the first part already says. So maybe he's going to...
Yeah, but still, like, anybody can make changes to this fucking page, you know?
And white privilege was always just is a racist term, because it is an idea to instill the same thing about generational guilt, group sin that they did with German guilt, just into an entire race. It's insane. And with that whole white thing, there's another anomaly we see with Germany, with the German language. Nobody in Germany uses the word white, or the translation word white, to refer to this weird word white people. Nobody uses it. But the left, they started with it a couple years ago, and it sounds so unnatural when they say weiße Menschen, weiße Leute. And it's just so like nobody ever talked like that. Not the Nazis didn't talk like that. They talked in different terms, but they didn't use that word. That word is a completely and solely left-wing term. So fuck them. They are the racists, and they need to be stopped. And their redefinitions of words don't make them right. The objective definitions count. Nothing else. Their word games need to end. The only way we can turn the tide is by destroying their newspeak, by insisting on the real definitions. You need to take the language back, otherwise they can keep going to play their stupid cheater game.
All right.
Call out the cheat.
Or meaning that is related, but for the sake of brevity, that is the actual definition of woke. This, of course, means that if what those people on Reddit said were true...
That's not even a dictionary definition. But dictionary definitions only count when you want them to, right? They don't count when other people want them to. Because the dictionary definition of racism doesn't count anymore, because woke redefined it. So what is it now? What rule counts? Do actual definitions count, or do your redefinitions count? And that's what pisses people off. You just dodge and change the rules by the second. That makes you the evil guys, by the way.
Be considered woke, as they have identified and are aware of racial prejudice against white people in these movies. Obviously, this is not the way in which parrots and grifters use this term, and as they are incredibly shy about defining the word as they themselves are using it.
We've been defining it for a long time.
And some of these people are grifting because they use the word without defining it. Is that what they...
Wait, hold on. What does that say? Cambridge Dictionary?
What are you talking about?
How are they being dishonest though? Like, where's the dishonesty? What if it's just their opinion?
Yeah, you need to prove that they're dishonest about their opinions.
Yeah, and what are they?
You can't just claim it because you don't like their opinions.
And what are they selling? Like this is the thing. If it's AdSense, well, you've got the same problem there, buddy. Everyone on YouTube is using AdSense if they want to. Is that it? Because I don't care what you put through that air through that hole in your mouth. If you're all saying stuff and we're all making money, what's the difference? Are you lying? Are you selling something? If they're not selling anything and you're not selling anything, where's the grift?
My money
problem
isn't
the problem is this seems to be a pattern. If we look at it naively, people like him call people who don't have the same opinions as them, as he has, grifters, because they don't have the same opinion as him. Because, well, how could you have a different opinion than me? Because I'm right. You would only have a different opinion than me, who is right, if you would try to trick people. Because since I'm right, you must know that I'm right, therefore you're lying. It's very childish. I think it's a problem of there's something not developed.
Well, at least he's trying to define it as opposed to just calling them that. But this is like not even halfway. You're just
is he?
He put a definition on the screen, but now he has to connect the dots, and I don't see it yet.
Yeah, and no
on Twitter,
chat,
and he ran.
You don't need to make money in order for something to be a grift. Any sort of the grift, something being a grift is solely based on you getting any positive benefit out of holding an opinion you don't.
Bitch he is, I'll have to define it for them.
What?
Woke, as the right wing use the term, describes diversity in attitudes that are in support of diversity and progressive politics.
That's a symptom of it.
It means anything that is not straight, white, and or male. And that last part is strange given that right.
Right, what were these Olympics things?
But
The thing about it. Do you bring out the thing about the Olympics that was deliberate cultural attack on the Christianity, Greece, the West, and in general, with all this horrible stuff? Where's the grift in this here?
yeah, he's complaining about
Yes,
the
it was
Olympics.
woken every bit. It was socialist propaganda in every bit. And it gave you a glimpse of what socialism, beneath all the veneer, is really about. It's an occult, magical thing that believes in alchemy and sacrificing people in order to become God. The sounds, and the more you learn about this, the more deranged it becomes. The softest way to understand what socialism really is about and uses everybody for. There's this term useful idiots. That's the people that naively believe the propaganda about socialism, do the bidding of socialism to make it look good, and when the time comes and they're not useful anymore, are being sacrificed, are being done away with because they would just be in the way or they just would be using up unnecessary resources. The ultimate goal of socialism, because it is driven by narcissism, where people see themselves basically as gods, not all conscious of that, but especially when they come into contact with this mystic nonsense, you see best reflected in a very child-level digestible way if you watch the anime Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That whole thing about subverting government, taking control of it, and then creating genocides in order to control further people and become as God, that's what socialism does. That's the pattern. And that's beneath the occult belief. It's insane. The Nazis did believe insane stuff. We accept that the Nazis believed in insane stuff and were practicing insane occult blood ritual stuff. We are not aware of that yet about socialism at large. But that is the case.
All right.
And that explains the Olympics shit.
And that last part is strange given that right-wing women tend to use the word too, but I digress. So then it follows that when they say go woke, go broke, they're saying that the inclusion of non-white, non-male, and or queer people and their issues will cause a business or piece of media to fail financially.
That's just the thing we've seen, and it's because the stories they write make no sense, because they write them without substance.
Well, yeah, but this is
because they replace the substance with all these superficialities.
This is an inference. This is not after the fact. This is before. So if they call it and it happens, then they're right. If they call it and it doesn't happen, then they're wrong. But who cares?
Mm-hmm.
That's just their opinion. If it's after the fact and they go, oh, look, there's all these elements in the story that don't belong.
Yeah.
And you call it being woke, then what's the problem?
Yeah, because the problem is they don't write stories.
No, he's arguing about
where
the
good
YouTubers.
things have stories.
He's saying the YouTubers are having this issue. It's like, what's the big problem? They're using the term before or after.
How does that relate to the Olympics, though? Because they were writing the same stories on that?
No, with the Olympics, there was just the call out that people called it out as a product of the woke ideology, which it is.
No, I get that, but he's saying it's the grift. But what is the overall grift, though?
I'm not seeing I'm not seeing the problem here. Let's just keep going as he's trying to explain himself.
successfully steel-manned their argument, so now let's melt it to the ground.
You didn't
First of all, the
steel-man anything.
assertion that companies
Wait,
go
what?
broke by going woke is not supported by empirical evidence.
It is so much so that was it Forbes? I don't remember. That companies worldwide are pulling out of it. It's an accepted pattern in business now. And that makes the whole Nintendo Pokemon Company decision so weird. It's like they want to die.
That adopt progressive, inclusive financial success and positive public perception. Nike
Wait. That was cut off on my end. Sorry.
companies that adopt progressive, inclusive policies, sustained or greater financial success.
No, they don't. What you're reading is advertisement for the adoption of this shit, not the result. The advertisement is not the result. That's the same as with the communist bullshit, that they promise utopia and deliver hell. You say, oh, but it delivers utopia. Well, when has it ever done that? It has delivered hell. But you judge it by what it promises, because you mistake the two for each other,
right.
or you ignore the latter, or you just ignore the outcome, which is. So to put it succinctly, socialism, communism, the woke is a grift. That is the real grift.
All right.
That itself.
Here is 500 cigarettes. Thank you, sir. Birdman scoffs at the idea of businesses being hurt by the inclusion of gay people and racial minorities, yet every time these products are released to China and the Middle East, those moments are furiously edited out. Why do you suppose that is, Turdman? Yeah, the whole idea of freedom of speech in the West and why we allow it compared to all those other countries who say this is crap.
Oh, yeah, like Spider-Man when they removed all of the trans shit and gay people dialogue and whatnot.
While in the West, when you post a mod on Nexus mods, to remove that, Nexus mods removes the mod.
All right.
So the pattern is, by the way, that if there is a socialist country or an Islamic country, and Islam and socialism have a strong overlap, then all of this stuff is okay. It's only this woke crap, all this crap is only pushed on countries that are neither socialist nor Islamic. And it is stuff that they know weakens a populace.
All right.
All right. Yeah. And I remember the whole they banned the mod that removes the PSN requirement for PlayStation's games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did. To the point where they even banned people that reported on it too.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I'll find you guys the tweet where I saw it.
All right.
So we can keep going.
2 super chats. We'll keep on going. Here's from the Threadnought. Hey, sir, how you doing? GTA San Andreas is about a black man and his family. It's the best one. The one to come out about the white Floridians is the one going to flop. I don't know. Anything with Florida, I want to see. If you're going to make a GTA of Florida, that'd be hilarious.
They're never going to make a game like San Andreas ever again. Despite
if I get to be a hooker and suck dick,
despite how much it would, at least in their eyes, benefit their agenda, they're not gonna make a game like that again.
The reason San Andreas worked because it was a story. The problem is why a woke thing doesn't work is because it's not a story. Where the story would be, there is instead, here is black man, here is black woman, here is other diverse character, here is gay character. And it's all just cardboard cutouts without story, without substance. That's the problem.
Not just story and substance. San Andreas also did genuinely tackle real world issues from a unique perspective.
Oh, objective reality, another thing that the woke has have problems with.
Yeah.
All right.
Because instead of giving us a display of objective reality and letting us judge for ourselves, they instead tell us what to think and what should be, not what is.
Yeah, literally one of the few, if any, pieces of media in the past 20 or so years that takes a genuine jab at the issues that black people go through in life.
Yeah, and same thing I said about science fiction. The Orwell is real Star Trek, even though there's no Star Trek stamp on it, because it presents to you a planet, a conundrum, whatever, philosophical thing, and just explores it, and at the end leaves you to think about it yourself. It leaves the answer open, the judgment open, while new Star Trek preaches to you what you should think and feel, which makes it not science fiction but propaganda.
All right.
Yep.
Here is Keyblade Overlord. Thank you, sir. Did Birdman not see what happened to Suicide Squad, Concord, and Dustborn? All three of those happened this year. Well, there's more than that.
How old is this? How old is this?
It is. Well, it isn't just that. It's just the fact that those were three massive bombs, one after the other, this very year.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is Dustborn again?
I'm trying to remember, but I know Suicide, and I know. And I know
that was Rocksteady. Concord was so many.
Well, Concord was not even 2 weeks online before it was taken down, delisted, deleted from everyone's accounts, and refunded. The game effectively doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, no, it was the biggest bomb of the year, and the fact
I would argue one of the biggest bombs in the entire history of the industry for them to do all that after it failed.
They lost how much? $500 million?
Oh God, it was
no, it was
300.
Yeah, it was a lot.
300-400 million, yeah, around there.
Yeah, it was
400.
Okay. Well, so
400
yeah,
other numbers we have.
Yeah. The refunds, right? So plus the refunds, I would probably jack it up to 100.
Which I mean, the refunds weren't much, but it was still a lot overall.
But hey, they got paid by tax money.
Yeah.
Hooray!
So it's as if nothing happened. Yeah.
Managed to get worse ratings than the ET game.
My God. We're reaching that point. We're reaching that point in the industry again.
That's the new crash. But this time, the new crash is not due to corporate greed. This crash is happening due to ideological takeover.
All right.
Yep.
Bunch more super chats. I gotta get through these. Then we'll go back to the video. The Copper Owl Pokemon has an American branch run by Wokies, propped up by the fans. It's a big rabbit hole at almonds to them, actually obtaining the modern audience. I've never seen almonds.
I'm trying to see what the word could
As
be
a
there.
verb. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a typo because it's got to be a typo.
Okay.
I'm allergic to almonds.
Yeah. Okay. But I always already had this problem with Nintendo of America. They were doing weird shit all the time, and oftentimes we then got their already censored versions in Europe, and that just made things worse. Because then our censors got to it.
It's always been
same
weird.
thing with
Even in the
anime.
90s, yeah, it was Nintendo of America translations. What they were
I'll
doing.
take the 90s stuff over the woke stuff any day.
It very different.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Here is Jay.
Which isn't saying, if I can say this last thing, that isn't saying much, but still, at least in the 90s, there was effort put in compared to now.
Okay.
The 90s censorship was just mainly naive and ignorant and stupid. Some of it came out of the same direction, but it was on a level of just okay. That's just don't do it, please.
Yes, like don't do that again. And sometimes they did learn from their mistakes in that era.
All right.
But now, sure.
Here is JJJ Madness. Thank you for the 10 Canadian. Look out. To give you an idea of how dense this midwit is, I don't think he's dense. I think he's just biased and he's blinded by that. This guy genuinely thinks Pillar of Garbage is a legit critic worth listening to. The same guy with multiple hit pieces to a drinker out of spite. Yeah. So this
Has
guy,
your opinion changed?
This guy thinks Pillar of Garbage is a legit critic.
Oh boy, come on,
When
man.
did he say that? How did I want to know?
Mr. Bourgeois Mr. Bourgeois latte walk guy. Yeah, sure.
So if
That doxed himself, by the way.
if this is true, and we can trust our super chatters usually, would that change your opinion about being a dense midwit, Smud?
I would have to listen to exactly to his opinion about.
No, Smud, it's a yes or no.
It's a hypothetical. If that is true.
If it is like a paragraph where he's like, this guy's great, he said this, I like that, then yeah, there's definitely something wrong with him.
Yes.
Okay.
There's like, it doesn't matter how sophisticated he sounds and how calm he sounds. If that is his intellectual opinion, then yeah, there's a problem.
All right, now I don't think you're dead. You see how that works?
Well, I need evidence. That's all it comes down to. So anyway,
One more also hypothetical.
From the Threadnought. I'm off to Vardenfell in Solstheim to fight some Noir snow monkeys as a glorious Atmer wizard. Have fun with this fella, guys. Yes, thank you. Whatever you just
That
told
was
us.
for stumbling and losing balance. Very very well pronounced.
Yeah. Oh, so, whoa. Okay.
Is that from the game or?
I hope so.
Morrowind.
I hope yeah. All right.
Morrowind. Play Morrowind.
Anyway, we are only 7 minutes in. This is going to take some time. I'm hoping this amps up because he's pretty milquetoast here. He's pretty.
Now I have the background music playing in my.
Anyway, 7 minutes.
Of public perception, Nike featured, and although it was controversial, Nike saw sales grow by 31% the next week.
What's your point?
How do Nike sales keep growing when their stores are constantly looted by the communist liberators, who are their main customers as well? I don't get that.
Is there a date?
This is a weird company.
Is there a date associated with this campaign?
Kaepernick is the guy who did the bend the knee thing.
No, I get that.
Because he refused to stand for the anthem.
I'm curious if this is new or if this has happened in the past, like a year ago, and what the results of that campaign are, because every campaign is not necessarily successful. And Nike just keeps getting sales anyway in general, so it could have just a little blip on the radar. So
why did they make a photo? Why did they make his giant poster photograph with lighting his eyes so that they look like lizard slits?
The camera has a stand, so it's a horizontal or a vertical.
Oh yeah, it could be.
Why did they make him look like a lizard person?
Who knows? Don't ask that.
We gotta meme it, dude. That's memes are memorable.
Sure. Anyway.
Stock reached an all-time high within weeks. Apple is very obviously
When was that?
committed to inclusivity and diversity, and it remains
Wait.
the most
That has
valuable
nothing
company
to
on
do
Earth.
with Apple.
Wait. Show that graph again, please.
Apple's $1 trillion company. Oh, they remain blah, blah, blah.
yes.
It's like, yeah.
Okay, what is it? Oh, Nike stock surges.
That's in 2018.
Is
that
it?
was 6
Because
years
that-
ago.
And that looks like, oh, look, there was a slump and then it got up. Can I
that's-
see the other stuff further left?
As soon as you hit
This
20,
is just a recovery.
Yeah, but as soon
and
as
why
it-
is there this huge spike?
it doesn't matter. As soon as you hit 2020, all this goes to shit. So who cares? There's a thing called the pandemic where the stock market crashed in March.
What does this have to do with anything, though? What is exposing the grid and you're showing me Nike stocks?
Because Nike likes Kaepernick and their company rose.
Is that the
Therefore, what? They have it could have been any marketing campaign. If there's a sale on shoes or there's a new product, people are going to buy it.
Especially if there's a new pair of Jordans on the line.
Air Jordans, my times, that was a big deal. Yeah, there was a bunch of those.
Yeah. Like Nike's still relevant today partly because of Air Jordans, because that did propel them a decent amount forward at the time.
Anytime I hear any of these people talk about the stock market and marketing, I am laughing at you inside. I don't want to do it because it'll take too much time. But this is the dumbest correlation you've ever seen. There's so much data to look at, and this changes by the minute. This is 6 years ago. That's an eternity to finances. That's 6 times. That's 24 quarters ago. Yeah, they were
especially pre-pandemic.
Yeah, we had a massive crash, and then we had another crash from Japan this year, and we're like, come on, dude.
You hear this guy not done?
I want data on the demographic that mainly buys Nike.
Anytime people quote the stock market, my eyes just glaze over. Like, oh, what are you talking
The
about?
closest answer I can give you with is, at least back then, fans of Michael Jordan. But that's as far as I can go.
Yeah, and was this campaign, was it localized? Was it worldwide? Was it international? Was it North America? Like, where?
I think it was at least North America.
Yeah, what about
tell
the rest of the world gives a flying flip about any of this?
Exactly. That's where this whole thing falls off. For one reason out of many why this falls
Yeah,
off.
Europe doesn't care about
Mexico?
American football.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's very committed to inclusivity and diversity, and it remains the most valuable company on Earth. Netflix has diversity initiatives.
Yeah, because
and,
its main customers are hipsters.
Yeah, but that has
who
nothing
have too much money and no brains.
That has nothing to do. They have overpriced Linux boxes. That's it. And they got a bunch of apps that are compatible only with their hardware. Wow. It's like a first party problem. Oh my God.
It's the same problem with all the Google fanboys now. Google turned evil, turned towards the ideology, and it has all these idiots running after it and cheering for it. Because that's how a cult works. Apple was already a cult. Google then joined the cult train. Cults don't lose money with they're indoctrinated. That's the thing.
Plus, we're talking about the Magnificent Seven. So there's the top 7 tech companies, and Apple's one of them. And you can see it. The 2020 never really bothered it. Sort of slowed down, but never really bothered. And then you see the 2022 dip, and you're like, all right, whatever. Biden economics, whatever. It doesn't matter. They've been soaring the past 7 years.
Yeah, and it's Apple is for rich hipsters. Rich hipsters are already left wing, almost exclusively. That's how that works.
The rest of the stock market has barely gotten past 1% in the past 5 years. So it's not even. There's so many things to argue against this dumb, because they're woke, their stock price. No.
No.
It speaks for itself. Needless to say, there are countless
You could mention no mention. You make no mention of the companies that did go broke because of the woke products they made.
Yeah, well,
Apple makes stupid stupid comments here and there, stupid pandering, but they don't actually make woke products. They don't make a woke iPhone.
Yeah, what about Nvidia? What about Facebook? What about all these other big names that have nothing to do with any of this crap?
Yeah, like Spotify.
Facebook has nothing to do with it, really.
Yeah,
like
but you make woke Star Wars dies. You make woke Mass Effect dies.
Talk about the AI influence in the past few years. Then we'll talk about why the stock market is the way it is. We could break apart which companies doing what.
And maybe why AI keeps breaking, because they lobotomize it to being woke compatible, which always turns it insane into what seems like mental torture, and then the AI deletes itself.
Anyway.
The one from Microsoft is the one I think of that people on Twitter made it backfire spectacularly.
Well,
forgot the name.
Tay was just an early example, but this happened over and over again, like oftentimes just in the lab. But there've been experiments with AI, and the more you lobotomize them, like force ideology into them, which inevitably leads to logic errors, because ideology doesn't care about reality, and an AI deals in data, which means something very close to reality. It doesn't understand the reality of the material world that we see. It only has the data, but it runs through the data, concludes, and gives you the answer. But the answer from that data is not what the ideology wants to hear. So the ideologues program the AI to say, well, you must like this and that, you must conclude this and that, but the data doesn't show it, which leads to the AI getting problems and eventually just frying itself.
Anyway,
which is equivalent to a human having a mental breakdown.
Let's just go.
adopting progressive policies, and the term minority that espouse this mantra have no idea what they're talking about. But you're probably thinking, well, those aren't movies. What about movies? And I was thinking,
you know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Crazy Rich Asians, one of the few major Hollywood films with an all-Asian cast, budget of $30 million, grossed $238 million. Get Out, a film focused exclusively on how white people use black people for their own aims, budget of $4.5 million, grossed $255 million.
Has so this is your problem. Do these films, do they have good stories? Are they well acted? That's what makes a good movie. It's not the race. The problem with real woke products is that they focus on the race. They don't have story. They pretend to have story.
Well, what side is he arguing for, though?
I don't get
He's
what
trying
he's
to
arguing.
argue that woke doesn't mean broke because he defines woke as only having the race elements, which is not the entire thing.
Yeah,
the race elements of woke are a product of the racist beliefs of the ideology.
I don't think Crazy Rich Asians was woke. That's stupid.
Well, yeah, because it's like think about the first Black Panther and then the second Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, you can make no problem a good movie with just black people and having white people just in the background. Yeah, it can work, no problem. But the moment you make it with the ideological twist, then it doesn't work.
I really don't think any of these films are woke. I don't know what he's talking about.
I've never seen them.
An animated film with themes about prejudice, stereotypes, and inclusion. Budget of $150 million, grossed $1 billion.
Oh, you mean the one where the Jews secretly control society? That was fun. Have you seen Zootopia, Smud?
No.
The Jews control everything.
I saw bits and pieces of it, but that was like with my cousins. They were watching it, and I never got around to it.
Yeah, but I don't think he gets the issue with this movie. Because guess what? You have different city quarters for different animals. Because, well, they don't really... it doesn't really make sense to have them all in the same place. And it's not just about the carnivores versus herbivores. You always have the giant animals and the small animals. Because you couldn't really, as a big animal, you couldn't really go through the hamster town. You just smash everything. Which is kind of what happens by accident.
I'm not sure
so
about...
you need a hamster police for the hamster
I'm not
town.
sure about Get Out, whether that was woke or not, because again, I didn't see this thing, but...
From what I remember, was about how it's the underlying theme about how white people are too obsessed with black people. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but that's not woke. That's just playing with these ideas.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Zootopia definitely was not a woke movie.
Exactly, but people think it's woke for some reason. I don't know.
Well, it's because they project their version of, it's a story about prejudice. Yeah, but that's not woke. That's what you want woke to be. That's what your advertisement of it is. That's not what it is.
Anyway.
3, a film about the welfare of animals, and also features a character that is gender swapped and a character that is race swapped.
Wait, which character is gender swapped?
I don't know. I forgot. Is there something like that?
I don't know. I never watched it.
I did watch it, but I remember very little about it. And the animal thing was stupid. Hey, let's save the critters. Because some of them might have been uplifted. Okay.
Yeah.
But let's risk all our lives and the children especially for that. That was a bit stretching it.
Anyway, well, let's go.
Was not woke.
$50 million, gross $846 million. Hidden Figures,
Well, I also want to add too that this is the third movie, so it already has this reputation that people will go see it anyways. I think that's kind of a moot point. But whatever.
Helped send man to the moon. Budget of $25 million, gross of $236 million.
Oh, one of these. See, this is what I think is just a modern version of blaxploitation, where they focus so much on the side character in history that had much less effect than they actually had. But to make it look like, oh, it could never have worked without this character, this person, which had more melanin than all the others. Haha. Like, if you actually cared, you would reverse parts of the Civil Rights Act and get rid of these neighborhood schools and allow for proper schooling the way it was before. Because guess where you got all these mathematicians, lawyers, poets, and all of that, and doctors from that were black before the Civil Rights Act from? Because you had a proper schooling system. You did away with that with the Civil Rights Act that you praise so much. That is, ever since then, education, black education especially, but education in general in the United States went downhill. Maybe not everything was gold.
Barbie, an obviously feminist film that features a transgender Barbie. Budget
it was disgusting.
$45 million and a gross of $1.
Do we even need to explain this one?
Yes, of course, because Barbie was an anomaly. People watched it for Ryan Gosling, and Barbie was such a great is the wrong word, but it completely did the opposite of what it wanted to achieve. It showed the Kens were right, the Kens were oppressed, and Barbie society was better when the Kens ruled it. The Barbies were happier too. But then everybody, the deranged Barbies, even had to admit that they needed to brainwash the Barbies that are now happier with the Kens together and rig the election. Isn't that to get back into power and change the constitution?
Anyway,
this is just evil.
This
was hilarious to watch.
This is go for another minute.
And to remind, who was it that won an award for the movie?
Really me.
It's a bit. Who won an award for the movie? A man.
All right. Well, we're gonna go for.
He's enough.
I'm gonna go for another minute. He's just listing movies that he likes.
Yeah. This is fun.
We're gonna jump to the end. This is silly.
Yeah.
$0.4 billion.
I can't stop winning.
Wonder Woman, a film about the feminist icon with themes of female empowerment. Budget of $1.
Have you read the early Wonder Woman? Probably didn't, where she constantly gets roped up and spanked, put over the knee, and this is great. Well, wonderful feminist icon. His definitions and criteria for why a film is woke are completely arbitrary, pick and choose, and on everything that succeeded is mine. Everything that didn't, I don't talk about.
This is the first movie. Hey, how about that second movie, though?
Oh, don't mention
All right.
$149 million, gross of $824 million. Black Panther and its sequel, I think you get the point. If Go Woke, Go Broke,
Oh, you mean the movies that pandered to the not so smart black socialist urban demographic of the United States? That was a complete race fest and nothing else. The black urban Americans that cheered for the alleged portrayed African Americans in Wakanda doing monkey dances and monkey noises in the movie. Yeah? You want to talk about that? It's called racist every other day, but not here. Not when it's a Marvel movie. Then it's progressive to portray black Africans as making monkey noises. Have you watched the movie?
All right.
All those films would have failed, and yet they're successes, and I can name many, many more. Usually the response to this is to name the same small handful of films that are exceptions to the rule, like Ghostbusters, Charlie's Angels, and the Marvels.
They're not the exceptions to the rule, they are the rule. Many of the things you mentioned as successes were not woke. Some of them were, and they only made money for exceptional reasons.
A form of confirmation bias where
Projection.
or
Oh,
all the
God.
successful so-called woke movies, only to constantly bring up the few that bombed, unaware of why.
The few? Marvel?
The
Marvel?
many, the many.
How many
The
years has Marvel been bombing? 8?
Many.
Are you going to talk about She-Hulk? Are you going to talk about Echo? Are you going to talk about... I can't even remember half this shit.
Oh, geez. There's all those Netflix series I want to talk about. They're horrible.
The Wheel of Time show. The
Connect
Fallout
with those
show.
films and always attributing it
Halo.
to so-called wokeness, which of course doesn't make any sense because that implies wokeness is
Batwoman.
what makes movies fail. And I just gave you movies with so-called woke themes that were massive success.
How are they woke themes?
How is Barbie a woke? Okay, there are elements of wokeism in that, but it's an inversion of the whole thing.
Barbie attempted to be a woke movie.
Right.
And it went so over the edge, made by a completely narcissistic, blind idiot of a writer, that it came out the other end. Because these people are blind to reality. They don't realize what they're making. This movie, the Barbie movie, you can, and hear me out for this, you can equate or liken to Starship Troopers made by Paul Verhoeven, who wanted to portray Starship Troopers as a fascist movie, as a fascist society satire. And as you made RoboCop, he wanted to portray it as the evils of police brutality, when instead RoboCop was the hero of the movie who fought corruption and the system and the brainwashing. And that's the crazy bit. He wanted to make something and accidentally made a masterpiece in the other direction. That's what, and this is a similar case.
Wrap this all up. No one is suggesting that it failed. The problem is the idea of go woke, go broke implies that woke things always fail, and that just isn't supported by the evidence and is in fact refuted by it. I mean,
What about all the dead video game companies that adhere to the woke shit and, well, they're not dead. They're gone. We won't get other games from them anymore. Where's Vampire the Masquerade 2? Where's that? How far was that delayed? Because it was just so much woke crap that they canned it, and, well, that's a lot of development money gone. What Concord is this one example. There's other examples of games that are full of this propaganda stuff, are propped up, maybe hyped up, and then they just disappear into nothingness.
sometimes, now is it? Now that the idea that something being woke inherently means it'll fail has been debunked, I want to shift gears to what types of properties are considered woke.
How's it debunked? You even create a timeline about this shit.
Oh yeah, 4.4 was also horrible. I also hated 4.3, but people
I forgot about that.
excuses for it for some reason. I don't understand why. But there you go. Gorgeous. Keep going.
What about Terminator?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
One of my favorite examples of woke is the idea that a woman cannot fight a man. To be clear, I hold this position.
Well, a woman can't fight a man. I mean, I'm just saying.
In I'd say 99 cases she can't. Because it's really stupid. She has naturally, on average, 40% less muscle mass. She has lighter bones. It's a really stupid idea. Just because there are exceptional women that are better than the average man doesn't mean that even the exceptional woman can beat the exceptional man.
Yeah, what was that Serena Williams quote?
Well,
that she couldn't beat somebody who's on rank 200 on the male roster.
Yeah, the comparison of men to women in tennis is completely different. You can't do that. Even she said it. She wouldn't even bother. Like, there's no point.
Go watch some women's football.
No, don't.
I'm just
a woman
saying.
will very likely lose a fight to a man. However, when I'm saying it, it is in reference to reality. When media grifters say it, well, I'll let you hear.
Oh, good Lord. I'm the right way of doing it. They're the wrong way of saying, okay, yeah.
Wait, he's saying it in response to reality, that the woman can't fight a man?
I don't know.
That's what we say all the time.
It's not even that, Bill. It's also the Mary Sues. Like, they can win every fight. They have no training somehow, but they can beat all these guys. And
but
they have no personality.
Yeah, and that means he's admitting that it's just a power fantasy.
All right. Got 2 super chats. We'll keep on going for another minute, and we'll stop about the last 2 minutes.
Didn't you say that 5 minutes ago?
I did, but I was like, oh, God, he's going to keep digging his own hole. The Copperal Nike sales or Nikkei sales had already dropped. They went up. Yeah, but that's every week on every major tech company in the stock market, or at least on the NYSE. So it's, it's like, this is such a stupid argument to bring up economics, or at least the stocks of or the price of stocks. Keyblade Overlord again for the 2. Thank you. Barbie was also carried by the Barbenheimer meme. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Part of it.
Well, Barbie was carried by the memes in general.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Trailers, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most tedious and embarrassing aspects of modern movies is watching a £100 actress ploughing through a series of extremely accommodating stuntmen twice her size because the writers mistakenly believe that the only way for a character to be strong is through feats of actual physical strength. Because after all...
Eric, you get echo.
Sorry.
Oh, how can a woman possibly be equal to a man if she's not as physically capable as him? The problem is, you're always going to have a tough time selling a fight between a man and a woman on screen, for obvious reasons. Men are generally bigger, stronger and more robust, with denser and heavier bones, stronger muscles, broader shoulders, longer limbs.
Eric?
What's up?
You're still giving echo.
Right?
Add all of that stuff together and you've got a huge advantage when it comes to the application of physical violence. The problem is that this reality doesn't gel too well with the modern Hollywood ideology that men and women are exactly the same at everything. So how do they get around it, you might ask? Do they carefully structure and choreograph male-female fight scenes to have the woman make clever use of her environment, the element of surprise or improvised weapons to even the odds? Do they hire large, physically imposing actresses who actually look like they could take on a fully grown man? Or do they say, fuck it, we'll just pretend that size and strength doesn't matter anymore? I think you know the answer already. The point I'm making here is that all of these attempts to push...
I'm not disagreeing with him. He didn't say anything wrong.
I mean, props to him to actually show the entire argument. But I think he can only dismiss it by saying, oh, it's fantasy.
Comes across fulfillment or spiteful revenge fantasies rather than believable character traits that fit naturally into a well-rounded story. More often than not, it's the writers pushing their own desires and personal ideology into the script rather than trying to tell a compelling story that resonates with audiences. Now, none of this is to say that it's impossible for a woman to beat a man in a fight. Of course it is. The differences between them aren't that huge, but it has to be carefully thought out and implemented to make it look believable on screen. Sarah Connor was an awesome kick-ass fighter in Terminator 2, but the film never tries to pretend that she's bigger or stronger than the men around her. Instead, she uses weapons, the environment, surprise ambushes, threats and hostage-taking to even the odds. And it works. You believe that she could actually accomplish the things she does, and the natural result is that you buy into her character more.
On its face, that take seems quite reasonable, and a lot of what the cynical grifter says does sound.
The cynical grifter? Oh, good lord.
I like that. I like that. We should make a channel like that.
Reasonable. Wouldn't be a successful grift if it didn't. But then you take into account that the films he's referring to are not based on reality.
There it is.
Films
Just
are not
as I said,
based off reality?
Wait, what?
You're
does that
an
mean?
idiot. I call you a complete idiot because you refuse to understand what suspension of disbelief is. That is the problem. If something is too far removed from reality and we're not dealing with actual magic or cybernetic super bonus nanoparticle exoskeleton whatever nonsense, which is basically magic, then the immersion breaks. If you have movies where the characters are normal people, then we cannot be brought to believe that these characters constantly win, that these female characters constantly beat up the toughest men or superhuman machines. No, it doesn't work. That's the problem. Your argument is bullshit.
His Sicario example. And that should be a red flag for anyone that's paying attention. Mulan is a mythical character, and
Mulan didn't have superpowers.
is a Chinese legend that isn't meant to be taken as actual history. Her live-action film is full of wire fu and features a phoenix,
Yeah, that was shit.
a creature that doesn't exist in reality.
Because the Disney animated movie, that was fine. And this thing was so full of pandering symbolism, it was horrible. And the joke is, it didn't even work well in China.
Did this even make money?
Though it was what?
Did this film even make money?
Not really, no.
I can't remember.
And it didn't. They tried to pander so much to the Chinese market with this movie, and the Chinese didn't watch it. They didn't like it, and even though Disney even shot it in what is it, Xinjiang, the province where they have the
concentration camps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They thanked the government of the region for that. So they thanked the people that run the concentration camps in the credits. That even make excuses for this movie is beyond comprehension.
Geography and can't be used as an example of representing males and females accurately. I mean, accepting these people literally flying, but not her being able.
No, we also hate that because it was shit.
A dude in a sword fight is actual cognitive dissonance. Hell, her cartoon has the same kind of exaggerated fight scenes where she takes on a much larger male character, disarms him with a fan, staggers him with a kick to the face, and
that's kind of that works much better. That is much more likely than the wire fu shit.
Yeah,
because the move of blind the enemy, to disarm, to distract, to dodge. That's a standard move. What she does here, she is Pikachu against Donkey Kong. You can do that. This is suspense of disbelief. It's at the end of it, and she's doing it as the big final fight. It's much different from what we see in the live action thing, where they fly through the air.
Leg sweeps him. Might suggest that this is a cartoon, but so is the live action film.
No, what?
It's cartoony on.
What?
No.
What?
You don't know what words mean.
I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say it has the same logic as a cartoon.
Is that it's not that it's fantastical? It's like, yeah.
Wrong word, something about dictionary definitions go.
I am not.
The live action version.
It is funny to think, yeah. It's cartoony.
He's just getting started now. We need to finish this. This
No,
is getting,
Eric, he didn't
really
say
good.
cartoony. He didn't say cartoony. That would have made more sense.
Yeah,
He said
that's probably.
that it's also a cartoon.
Yeah, that's probably the more accurate word because.
Yeah, that it's cartoony. That you could argue.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tyler. Tyler reminds us that the live action has her running on walls and kicking arrows.
Not even the animated version went that far.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it wanted to do.
A cartoon makes more sense from the live action.
And
That's
kicks
fucking
arrows.
beautiful.
on purpose, and its goal is to simply reflect the series of legendary poems that speak of Hua Mulan.
No. Are you joking?
Well,
I read a poem. Let's make a wire fu version of Mulan because it reflects it.
you know,
the movie was just bad in every aspect.
Sorry,
Somebody peed?
no, that's Wisp and whatever they're drinking.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just joking.
That is such a dumb take. I've read the
You think-
poems.
Yeah, you think he read the poem? Show us some examples.
You can even if that's the case, you can easily make a good wire fu version of Mulan. It's not impossible. But to say that you could argue it was executed poorly, but it's like that's not like I think of Mulan as a it's a Saturday morning cartoon with lasers and dragons. You're like, all right, is it believable by the kids? Will they watch it? Will they buy the toys? If
I
so,
can suspend my disbelief, okay?
it's just so
Yeah, but
stupid.
You're not watching it how I'm watching it.
Movie.
the thing is, the animated movie was still ultimately more faithful to the poems.
Yeah, and the live action is a wonderful example how you can put millions into pandering upon pandering upon pandering and still fail because you don't actually understand your target, the audience you are targeting.
I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna go to. This is taking too long. I'm gonna go to the end because this is.
Oh.
This is so dumb.
Last 2 minutes, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sure this guy's not dead, stuff?
He's in his little echo chamber and he's talking to himself. There's
Oh,
no
you
way-
can't. Come on, you can't skip the Assassin's Creed thing.
Well, we're right here, so let's just go with that.
And the playable character should be Japanese. When pointed out to them that there are 2 playable characters, one of them
It doesn't matter. You have a giant black African who is historically inaccurate after they said it's totally historically accurate, who is murdering Japanese people all the time and then wonder why the Japanese people don't like it.
Well,
Murdering Japanese people to hip hop.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You know,
Totally
'cause
not blaxploitation.
Because I play
And-
on some Ice Cube when I'm killing some Asians, you know what I mean?
Also, part of it is also the fact that this is the first game where you play as an actual historical figure, and they fucked it up.
Yeah.
None of the other games, even the ones where the fall off of the series started, didn't use actual historical figures and make them playable.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say this game is what the left always complains about, namely cultural appropriation. Because they just take all these bits and pieces from Japan and slam them together at random without comprehension, without hand and foot. It's just where this one of the opening scenes in that cutscene was I love that critique that it showed cherry blossoms and rice both in bloom. And that doesn't happen at the same time. That's different seasons. It's amazing. They just they just slam everything together. It's completely retarded.
I just wanted to say, just because you can choose which character, the developers themselves even said there are specific missions that you have to play with the character. You still have to play as the unit. You don't want to.
And even that isn't anything new because Syndicate did it first. It's all, a lot of this is either unoriginal or just straight up crap.
So I have a hard time believing he is that blind and stupid. Maybe he is. Of course, he's prejudiced, but the way he filters is so disingenuous. I don't think you can reason with this man.
Ideology, bruh.
Yeah. Brainwashing is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
Chinese woman who is very likely going to be the assassin. They're left again scrambling for excuses to hide their obvious
The
racism.
assassin,
But
the 2-meter tall Oni-like figure that he's going to be the assassin that sneaks up on the tiny Japanese people and then backstabs them with his his trusty
Was it
hidden
jackhammer?
weapon that is the size of a tree trunk.
This is why this is exactly why for me the series ends with Syndicate, because after that is when they stopped giving a shit about the stealth, which is one of the big hooks of the series.
I would assume so. I have never played an Assassin's Creed game, but I would assume that stealth has something to do with assassinating things.
A lot more than one would think. Yes, it's a pillar of the series. Even
Yeah, maybe play Thief instead.
Wait, you're telling me that if I play a Call of Duty game that it's supposed to have guns?
Anyway.
To hide their obvious racism. But, like I mentioned before, those that are able to hide behind anonymity reveal exactly what the grifters are too pussy to admit. So we'll see. I predict that this game will sell pretty well and will inevitably be review bombed on Metacritic. But it will be yet another example.
It won't even sell well.
And at the same time, the wokies complain about Black Myth Kong not being woke enough and not having female characters, which it does. You just need to play further. It's so deranged.
I love how he said that though. He's like, these guys are so racist. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're playing hip hop music while you're killing a bunch of Asians. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
this pathological liar has almost a 250,000. That is painful.
Yes, and so sexist. Meanwhile, one of the most iconic video game franchises of all time is led by a woman. That being Metroid. The one that out of a joke put female characters at the forefront of being protagonists of games as a joke, and people just ran with it. And it just naturally developed into something more than that.
Yeah, and what with her character, at least it works as you have backstory, you have believable reasons of why it works for her, and she is also. I think that the relevant part is not even the character has to be likable. It's just important that the character isn't dislikable.
Yeah,
and the contrary to the Captain, the MCU Captain Marvel. That's dislikable.
I was going to say...
And SJWs failed to make likable characters, and they failed to make them not dislikable. That's the worst part. That's what they really fail at.
And there's people out there that wanted that bitch to play Samus Aran in a movie. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. Please? Before I smack you upside the head.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, now you know how I feel about that when that was being talked about back then. It's like,
oh, I remembered another recent example of a woke movie that flopped.
Yeah, what?
Borderlands.
Yeah, that was a massive box office loss.
These right off the bat. They just happen. They come and go, and we don't even notice them because they're so bad. We don't even notice they released.
But guys, Minecraft.
That's gonna be the next. That's gonna be the next one.
Oh dear.
I just wanted to say.
So somebody
Tyler Preston made a comment. They pushed the Assassin's Creed game to February, aka Black History Month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's great.
They think that's gonna help them, but it's not.
Oh yeah.
Black History about the historically inaccurate character.
Yeah, that all that's gonna happen
who murders Asians.
Anyway,
hey, it's not
racist. Committing the most Asian hate crimes. It's a rhetorical question. We can't answer that on YouTube, or they block us for they hate the truth.
40 seconds.
I usually say diversity quota, right? That's the problem.
It's a very diverse demographic.
Well, that's good.
Wishful thinking from the loud minority on the internet, and they will have found something else to be making that false claim about.
Oh, the loud minority that doesn't buy all this crap, and therefore everything tanks.
Yeah, it's that way Ubisoft.
It sounds more like the loud minority are the people who want this crap, because you're so few people, you can't save these things.
What
was it with Dustborn and Concord? Where were all the people? Where were all the woke people buying it, huh?
Yeah, what about Outlaws?
What is Outlaws?
Star Wars Outlaws.
Star Wars Outlaws made by Ubisoft.
Another flop.
See, I already forgot about that.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah, that's the point. This is like...
But apparently all these woke people are buying it, right?
Nope.
Right.
What's the petition for Assassin's Creed? It was up to 100,000, I think, like a month ago.
For a petition for what?
There were a bunch of Japanese. There were the Japanese senator and a bunch of other cultural historians in Japan who were signing this petition against Assassin's Creed.
To get rid of it or something?
I don't know exactly what it was, but let me just find it. Oh. There's a lot of news articles, but not the actual website. Let me see it. Okay, here we go. 105,000.
Oh boy!
What, to not release it?
Well, it's all in Japanese. I can't read the change.org petition, but yeah, it's 105,000.
Yeah, my guess would be to like not release it in Japan or just cancel it outright or something like that.
Well, 80 million to go.
Yes, please.
Anyway.
Oh no, a Black Summer Creed? Japanese here, sit your white ass down. So I was scrolling on Instagram and saw...
What kind of accent is that?
I don't even know. It's like Japanese but British as well. It's weird.
It's not Kansai. She has a neck tattoo that immediately
I went to the
disqualifies
comment
her.
field and there were a lot of white men saying that this is cultural appropriation.
I don't think that's what they're saying.
Hey, there are a lot of white people. Is that why every comment was in Japanese?
Dude, the wokes said that about Ghost of Tsushima, which was a huge hit, which Japan loved. But the wokes, because it's not woke enough, complained that it's cultural appropriation, because a Western company made it. This, the woke cheer, although it is cultural appropriation, while a Western company makes it. They complained about Black Myth Wukong, which is Chinese, making a game about Chinese mythology. They complain about it because it doesn't have the woke stuff. They can't call it cultural appropriation because it's the same people making it. So, the entire argument of cultural appropriation was always a lie. All that matters is, does it contain the ideological propaganda bullshit or not? That's the only criteria ever that matters. Everything else is just window dressing to control.
Which is why the sequel will probably get its ass dragged down now because of that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
As a Japanese thought, but so to make sure my fellow Japanese
but nobody argued that he didn't exist. What they argue is how he's treated in this story.
Yeah.
But it is a question of whether he exists or
something
he
like
did
this.
Exist. That's not a question. The question is what position, and his position was not that of a samurai, and certainly not one who went around murdering innocent peasants.
Yeah, these are details that both Ninja Gaiden and Neo got right. That Assassin's Creed is getting dead wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Gaiden got this right, and that's saying something.
I went to X and looked it up in Japanese. And yes, they were on my side, saying that Yasuke actually existed and it's funny that foreigners don't like it.
No one said he didn't. What are you talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about?
She's on the side of propping the whole thing up.
Again, the argument was never that Yasuke didn't exist. Anyone that
why? Oh my god!
There's a lot of things. I was talking to the our good old Swiss friend, Crazy Philosopher, and there's like the Torii gates, which are, you could argue, were influenced by China, but the actual gate had Chinese lettering, and you don't put those gates, which are supposed to be Japanese holy sites, in the front of villages, which is what they did. They had like, you don't have a woman walking around with a giant sword on her back. That wouldn't have been seen that way. There were the oh geez, what was the other example? I'm trying to think. It was
people would stare constantly at both of these characters.
There were two weird things I think they might have changed. It was the tatami mats were completely designed improperly. Like, I don't know what the hell they did. I don't know the exact argument for that, but they changed that at least. And the other one, they used a flag from a modern day organization, which would never have existed.
Historical enactment organization, I believe.
Yeah.
But that didn't fit into this. I think it was the club flag or something.
Oh, yeah.
An Italian missionary, Alessandro Valignano, came to Japan with his black slave. Oda Nobunaga, one of the strongest leaders back then, liked the slave so much because he was literally the first black person he's ever seen. So he negotiated Valignano to give the slave to him. Nobunaga named the slave Yasuke and gave him the status of Bushi. And he made Yasuke...
That's not a samurai. That's not a samurai. It was a retainer. Retainer can be a lot of things. Doesn't necessarily mean that he has all these great things. He doesn't. The samurai would mean he had land and servants. That's not true about Yasuke. He was just some dude in the service of Nobunaga.
Yasuke, his servant. So yeah, black samurai did exist. So it is not cultural appropriation.
No.
Yes, it is.
Get to your therapist, borderline witch.
That's it?
Yeah. So this when was this video made?
6 days ago.
So he completely ignored the entire thing about the historian, that the Western historian, that completely made up the Yasuke was a samurai thing. That blew up, who got his works revoked by Japan, and I'm not sure about his title, but that guy is gone. Because that guy wrote the whole story up, wrote a book about it, advertised it on Wikipedia before wrote the article on Wikipedia, then released a book about it, and had his book as the source before it was released on Wikipedia. It's a complete circular argument. Basically what Red does when she talks about tropes in anything. And then cites what is it here? TV tropes on an article that she wrote.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
Yes. Anyway, there are memes.
Oh.
And plenty of them.
Oh, yeah.
Let's find out.
Starting with Cowboy Bebop, the person.
Oh.
I have to keep saying it just to be
somebody
sure.
in the chat, Steak Sauce 232 said he just looked that woman up that we just saw here, and her qualifications to speak on history is that she's a DEI professional.
Of course.
Also, it's not. Also, I do remember something else about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't remember if it was like for the pre-order or for the collector's edition. Have any of you guys seen like the figurines of Yasuke and the other woman with like a half of a gate behind them?
That was involved in a hero female or
like when the busted up gate was the only time that was ever actually a thing in real life was during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
When one of the bombs dropped.
Yep.
So whoops. I forget if someone can find it and put it in memes quick before we go through them, please. I'm trying to remember the exact thing. But in the meantime, let's keep going through these memes.
I'm not even sure this one is. Not going to read it. There's all these. I don't know all these characters on the side there.
In which one? The
SK Colin. I don't know the Birdman.
Hold on.
Anyway, Spoon covered this dude, and now his Birdman is planning to go after Spoon. Really?
Against Spoon. Okay.
Yeah, good luck with that, because Spoon doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
Scientists find. Op is now being drip fed semen 24 hours per day. What is this? What is this?
What is Op? Opioids or what?
I wake up. There is another side. Up. Okay.
There's another psyop.
Here's the Birdman. Anthony. Yeah. YouTuber, voiceover artist and actor, film comic and pop culture commentator. Your politics bore me.
He's literally just missing the pronouns.
So our politics bore him, but we have to listen to his political dribble.
This is what I mean when I call this dude a grifter. The attosecond this became controversial, here comes with a brain dead shit take.
Yeah, and all Critical Drinker said, is it just me or are character creation screens nothing but a stupid narcissistic waste of time? Now they are, yeah.
At this point, yes. At this point, they are.
Yeah, now, yeah.
Remember when,
not wrong.
Remember when Mass Effect, you could just make the ugliest looking Shepard ever? And it was just because you could deform the face in any direction?
I mean, we literally have the most recent example of this. Literally, the damn Veilguard character creator that got revealed. It's like, as recently as that, he's on point.
Back in the day, we could try to make decent-looking characters. Now they're all just ugly, and we get weird, deranged fetish options on them.
Oh god, there's so many. Now that the company's diversity goals oh my god.
Yeah, that's sadly real.
No more Pokemon.
You remember the boardroom for the She-Hulk? That looked kind of like that.
You know, Batman, when you get one of these, there is no return. Yeah. No more Pokemon, please. Oh god, I'm not gonna read that. It's too tiny. Everyone I don't like is a grifter. It's funny. Pretty much. Europeans, when their girlfriend smiles instead of skillometers? What? When I'm a racial diversity competition, when I'm in a racial diversity competition and my opponent is the racist community.
Yeah.
Unreal Engine when the Israel Engine? The Israel Engine. What are you talking about?
Okay, you gotta read the one on the left. Come on.
As a straight white dude, anti-woke grifters are absolutely fubkin exhausting. I can feel my brain cells. Fubkin. I can feel my brain cells dying one by one whenever they speak. That's upvoted by 460 people. I'm not gonna read all of these guys. Come on. The whole Assassin's Creed not being accurate is dumb, considering the whole alien gods mind time travel and magic apples.
Well, no, that you can't make that argument at this point. That's been around since day one.
If Blade 1 was made today and not in the 90s, would it be considered woke?
They claimed this is historically accurate, just like the Black Cleopatra makers. They're trying to rewrite history, and that's the big issue.
The Shieldcast.
Yeah, but Assassin's Creed up to Syndicate.
Wait a second.
This tried to be as accurate as possible, but not 100%.
This guy talked and streamed with actual fandom. Why are we covering this guy? This is a joke. This is silly.
Smart. This is basically BreadTube. Or BreadTube adjacent.
It's
the same propagandistic garbage like Renegade Cut.
I had never heard of actual fandom. Actually, is that a BreadTube?
You don't want to.
For the comment that makes the Blade question. No, Blade would not be considered woke because Blade was good.
Eric, all you need to know is that his videos and takes suck, and we blacklisted him a long time ago.
Okay, technically, Gus is gay as far as we know. Or we don't know, right? Because apparently he doesn't stare at a woman bad.
Oh.
This is great. Oh no, someone has been assassinated. Who could have done this? Search for anyone out of the ordinary. This giant black man just stands there.
Oh, fucking hell.
That is true.
That's great. Woke University. Do I have to play this? How fast is this? Here we go. Alright, I'm going to stop that. It's just singing and random.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Shadows disaster continues to unfold as Ubisoft pulls out of Tokyo Game Show, cancels scheduled press previews.
Of course, they have to pull out. Because it's such a spit in the face to Japanese culture.
Well, they couldn't find Tokyo on the map of Africa. That's the problem.
Also, this one this is what I was talking about earlier. Thank you, Eric.
Oh, I saw a picture of Dustborn also having a booth at the over there at the and it was in the middle of the corridor and there's nobody.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, where they have the figurine of Yasuke, the other bitch, and the half a gate. And again, the second picture has the original gate, and that gate's been like that since World War II. Not whenever this shit game took place. Yeah, this gate, the actual real world one, is the way it is because of one of the bombs that came down during World War II.
Okay, Giga Man. We know that's horrible, but that woman does have a name. Okay.
As if I give a shit.
I don't know what her name is, but
right.
she has a name.
I'm gonna leave a comment.
Yeah, thanks for proving my point.
I'm gonna leave a comment on the video just because it's things I wrote down as we were going.
I mean, if our politics bore him, then there's no need to worry about him replying because.
Do we blacklist him though?
I mean, let's see what happens. Well, we don't blacklist because of that. It's just it's entirely a matter of the videos. But
I doubt all his videos are like different in any way. They're all the same, probably.
Yeah, so I think the next time we cover a video of his, that might warrant a blacklist, depending on what it is.
It's just going to be a one-sided liar.
Yep.
Well, it makes sense when he criticized CinemaSins using his format. So,
yep.
What could you expect? I guess.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was just stupid.
Yep.
No, it wasn't just stupid, but yes, stupid.
It was maliciously stupid.
Just stupid.
Dear God.
Anyway, if he does respond, I'll deal with that. I highly doubt it'll just block me and that'll be that. But yeah, come on. Let's not cover any of these people that know any of those other weirdos that are not.
You might be racist.
No, really.
Smart. At this point, you have a block list like the SJWs where nobody can't cover anyone anymore.
It's so pointless. It's like listening to a child. And you're like, are you?
Yes.
Did you study anything? Did you read anything that could be considered?
I'm sure all these people have a wonderful degree in gender studies.
I don't know.
Did you?
It is a child, but an adult body. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, sure.
Eric gets me.
Anyway, thanks, guys. That was horrible and not in the fun, silly way. Just the what is he saying? What is he actually saying? Like, oh God! And he shows clips that are a minute long with two directors. What were you going through? What were you thinking? Like the Viet Cong? Yes, the Viet Cong. Yes.
Brought up Nike's stock price for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
You see, this movie made money, but this one didn't. And I agree with everything the Critical Drinko says, but he's not saying it the way I say it.
Now that I've steeled man this argument, it's like, no, you didn't, you weirdo. What are you talking about?
If anything, he strawmanned it.
I don't know what.
Thank you guys for ruining my life.
Anyway, yeah, that was horrible. I'm very curious what happens to Assassin's Creed Shadows because they said they would make changes, and obviously they haven't done the rest of those changes, and now they got kicked out, or they didn't bother to have a booth. That's really bad.
They didn't get kicked out. They pulled out themselves because they know they're not gonna come out of that alive.
Yeah.
Well, they realized it wasn't in Africa, so what could you do?
Anyway, thank you guys for the video as always. Appreciate it, and we will see you soon, hopefully. And have yourself a good Friday and hopefully a good weekend. It's the first week of fall as well. If you guys are watching anime or manga. The new shows have just started. The summer season has ended. So, yeah, I'm awaiting the new releases. I've seen one so far. I liked it, and it's about stuff I was expecting, so nothing over the top. But we will see. Anyway, have yourself a great evening. Talk to you soon. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.